What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon NBA DFS video. It is Saturday. It is February 10th. We are back with a full video here. So we have 7 games on this main slate that we're going to talk about. If you've never been here before, we do things a little bit differently. We're going to go through a lot of things. So if you're ones looking for projections, we have the article in the description of this video, normally out by 10 a.m. on that given day. So anytime we have at least 5 games on the slate, we have 3 top, 3 mid, and 3 value picks at each position in the article, which you can find. Clicking on it and checking that out definitely helps out the channel and the website as well. On top of that, this video, we're going to break it down. So we're going to look at the Vegas numbers. We're going to look at each game. We're going to look at the depth charts and players that we feel confident about or that we would use during the slate. On top of that, at the end, we'll kind of build a little lineup. I don't know if we'll do the whole thing, but we will go through the DVP or defense first position, and we will look at that. We'll go the article or the page that on our site is NBA points allowed by position, so we'll go through there. We'll check out who has in store for a good game. Then we'll try to build off of that as well. So a few things. If you're looking for more on the website, you can go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. You can go to player trends, games played, or minutes played, Vegas odds, top plays. Top plays are both DraftKings and Fanduel by DVP and implied team totals. Our player projections are just that. We project the players out. So we try to edit them and upload them to the site about 2 hours before tip-off. That's generally when most of the news comes out, just like in the article. So the article you see will be, or if you click on the link, will be 3 top, 3 mid, and 3 value picks, but the value can open up throughout the day. So we'll definitely look at that as well. So if you've never been here before, you have a chance to win some free content for FTA+. If you like the video, you are a YouTube subscriber, and you leave a comment, and we get at least 50 likes on a video, someone will win a free week of DFS content. 100 likes is a free chance at a month pass. 125 likes is a free year, and if we get 150 or more likes on a video, it's a chance to win a $500 lifetime pass. Another way to do it, like the video, be a subscriber, and tell me who's going to score the most amount of DraftKings fantasy points and how many fantasy points are they going to score. If you get it closest without going over for that day or the previous day, you have a chance you will win a free week of content. If you get it exactly correct, so use the exact fantasy point outage, you will win a free month of content. That month will include currently NASCAR, NBA, NFL sports betting, NBA sports betting, and PGA as well. MLB is right on the, I think, 1 week until pitchers and catchers report, and then I think it's 14 days, so 2 weeks from today, I believe, will be the first spring training game. So we're very excited. MLB is back, but we are going to focus on NBA. I'm going to let you know right now, probably butcher some of these names. Does not have any factor into projecting these players out or using these players in DFS. I keep having comments about it. I get it. I might butcher some of the names. This is the exact reason why I don't do MMA videos. This is the exact reason why I don't do NHL videos, because those names are 100 times worse in pronunciation than pretty much anyone here that I'll be doing. So if I do butcher some names, let me know, and then if you know how to say it, try to type it out, because I've literally gone to Google and I have said, how do I say this person's name? And that's what I go off of on some of them. So anyway, that being said, I digress. We're going to look at the Vegas odds. Depending when you watch this video, maybe the Vegas odds have changed a little bit. So we do have some early games that are not part of the slate. We can't play OKC versus Dallas. The main slate does not have Detroit or the Clippers, does not have San Antonio or Brooklyn. We've got Philly versus Washington. Again, as you saw on Friday's slate, Philly traded away a bunch of people. We got some value. A lot of the value that we wanted on Saturday or on Friday night shit the bed completely. I completely understand. That is the difference. I'm telling you, some of our sports betting, some days we have amazing days. Some days we don't. DFS, same exact thing. So, trying to bring you as much information as I possibly can. If you like this kind of video, you're going to love MLB once we get to it. If you haven't checked MLB out, go check out our playlist. Go check out MLB, not the latest ones, not during playoffs, but regular season with 15 games. Go check out how we break it down for basically 45 minutes to an hour every single day. So, first game on the slate, the opening line right now, Philly's only -2.5 against Washington, which is crazy. I feel like this will shift a little bit, but closer game than maybe we were thinking. Specifically closer before the trade deadline. Over-under of 237.5. I don't mind that way. It's in the middle. And we compared to like a normal night, that's middle of the pack there. We got Memphis versus Charlotte. Charlotte's not that good. Both of these teams are actually not that good. We've got Memphis as a 3.5 point favorite. 223.5 over under. We got Chicago versus Orlando. Orlando being a 4.5 point favorite. Only a 214 over under. So kind of a low over under right now. It did open up at that's what it opened up as. It is currently 216.5. Cleveland versus Toronto. Current line is Cleveland -8, so it's gone down 1, and a 228.5 over under there. Houston versus Atlanta. Atlanta 4.5 point favorite with a 234.5 over under. Indiana versus New York. New York made a lot of moves, but Indiana currently right now favored 4.5, 231 over under. Then we got Phoenix at Golden State. Golden State being a 1 point favorite right now, 240, and then New Orleans versus Portland. New Orleans being a 7.5 point favorite somehow with a 225.5 over under. So we bring it into here. And this is kind of a way people have been liking it. So we're going to go game by game. We're going to look at these and we're going to focus in on, seeing if any players are out, any news and notes and stuff like that, and we will go from there. So I do believe tomorrow, let me check real quick. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's what I thought. We have, for Sunday, we only have 2 games. Obviously, the Super Bowl's there, games at 1 and 2. I don't know if we'll have any, I don't know if I have a video. We'll have a little bit of content on the website. Obviously, 2 games is not really much. I haven't looked to see how it's going, but yeah, so we'll kind of focus in on that. We'll look at that maybe a little bit. I maybe have a video, maybe not. We'll see. And then this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we've got games, only 3 games on Thursday, and then we have the All-Star break from Friday on to the next Thursday. And then it starts mid-season or in-season tournament, so it's going to get a little wonky a little bit, so just bear with us through the season. MLB is almost here. So, looking at this, just looking at all the players, Embiid obviously is out, and then in yesterday's video I said Maxey we'd be looking at, but he was questionable. He was out Friday with an illness, which obviously if he's still out with whatever illness, it's non-COVID related, they said, that'll open up again. So I was all over Tobias Harris as one of our core plays. I don't believe he did not hit the value that I thought he should hit anyway. I'm trying to see what he actually ended up with. Let me see. I can just tell you right now, actually. We had him. I'm trying to think of the other ones that we had for Friday's slate. Yeah, it was not a good day. I'm not going to lie. Tobias Harris came through for 39.5 fantasy points. Not enough at 7,800. Derek White was another one that I really liked. The game went up 133 to 129. He had 22 fantasy points. Not enjoying that one. Yeah, a lot of the value that we picked did not come through on Friday. And that's DFS in a nutshell. So, Tobias Harris obviously has a great matchup here. Maybe people will see that he did okay on Friday and go back to the well. But again, a lot of these players, it's the second game of a back-to-back. So that is kind of some more research you might need to do. If you get your player pool of however many people you have, and then you break it down and you can go into the players and see how they do on a first game or a second game of a back-to-back, maybe base your projections a little bit off of that as well. So basically, I don't trust Paul Reed any day. I don't care. His price is lower, but I'm scared to use him. It's Jordan Poole up for me here is what I would use. Obviously, Eugene was a value option that we used on Friday. Didn't come through for us at all. But again, at 4,200, it's a cheaper price. I would look at him again for tournaments. I would not be looking at him for. What I'll put is I won't focus my efforts on thinking he's going to score a ton of fantasy points. So let's put it that way. So that's where we'd look at. Just depends on where you want to go here. You got a lot of people that are questionable right now. I do like KJ Martin a little bit. Corey Kispert, I do like him. Buddy Hield did get traded. Started Friday. I think he was questionable all day. So that might have been what screwed up a little bit. So he was questionable all day, so I thought X, Y, and Z would be good, and then they just didn't do anything. So that's what I'd look at here. I'm probably off the Mo Bamba train. I'm probably off the Paul Reed train. I just don't trust them. Council the Fourth is a tournament option, a very cheap $3,700 player. Depends if he's going to get the start, though. That's something to look at as well. Moving on to Memphis versus Charlotte, the battle of the mid teams here. I don't trust a ton. Ball's out. Miles Bridges, 2 or 3 nights ago, had the most amount. No, I think it was 3 nights ago. Had scored the most amount of fantasy points on DraftKings, which he's in a pretty good matchup here against Memphis. Jaren Jackson Jr. has one of the best matchups here for Memphis, going up against number 30th defense. 37.3 fantasy points per game isn't the best at 8,100, but I will still take him. I would look at Brandon Miller. I would look at Nick Richards, Vince Williams Jr. I would look at Aldama, Caleb Martin, Luke Kennard for tournaments. I'm okay with G.G. Jackson. I'm okay with as well. Move on to Chicago versus Orlando. Obviously, if Kobe White, let's see. He's probable, so he should be good to go. That hair. Yeah, I love Kobe White here. Little bit expensive. It's true. Middle of the pack defense against him, so I like that still. Bonchero, I like. DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic, I like. Franz Wagner, Andre Drummond. I'm not a huge fan of Andre Drummond. The Sunmu, yeah, his price, I'm probably off of. He's getting the minutes here. He's not getting the fantasy points the past few games. So I'm probably off of him. Wendell Carter Jr., I don't mind. Markelle Fultz, I'm okay with. I think Markelle Fultz and Jalen Suggs and Mo Wagner are all tournament options. Jonathan Isaac would be a value option here. At 3,600, I'm okay with. The minutes are fluctuating. That's what I'm scared of, the fluctuating minutes. He's 19 minutes, then 10, then 21, 20, 18. So it's going down. It's in the middle. So that's kind of what I'd look at. But again, Jonathan Isaac at 3,600, it's allowing you to build your lineup out. So again, stars and scrubs lineup, those work. If you make multiple lineups, like 20-plus lineups, completely okay with that as well. So that is where you've got to find the value. You got to differentiate yourself from the pack. So find the value plays like a Jonathan Isaac that probably going to be less than 5% owned. Will he go off? Probably a 5% chance that he goes off. But if he does, your leg is up on the competition. And you spent only 3,600, so you can go somewhere else at a different position to build around. Cleveland versus Toronto. We've got Donovan Mitchell. Love Donovan Mitchell. Again, a lot of these teams are playing second game of a back-to-back, so be very cautious. If they're tired, they're run down how many minutes they played the previous game, how they have done in previous back-to-back games. So if you just, for instance, if you just want to look at Donovan Mitchell back-to-back games, played the 7th and the 8th. So played 38 minutes one day. The second game he played 30. 59.5, 51.25. So you can kind of see a pattern, or you see that, and then we get to another back-to-back somewhere, maybe not. See, really hasn't again though, this is towards the beginning of the season. Played 34 minutes the second game, 35 minutes the game before that. So yeah, it just depends. He's been warming up. Some players thrive in back-to-back, some don't. That's just something to look at. Love Donovan Mitchell, Scotty Barnes, Jarrett Allen. Pretty much all these. Love Jacob Poeltl. Friday night, and he dominated for us. It's basically probably Levert, maybe Strus, and up. Isaac Okoro would be tournament, but yeah, it's, Bruce Brown, Olenek, Gary Trent Jr., Okoro, all are tournaments, and then other players, Strus and up to Mitchell, I'm okay with in this matchup here. Got Houston versus Atlanta, which is a closer game than I thought it would be, but we've got Trae Young. I love Alperen Sengun here. I love him. Deontay Murray is questionable, so it's something to look at. Jalen Green I like. It just depends on which players are going to be out. So Fred VanVleet, it's out right now. Wouldn't be surprised if this changes to questionable, but then if he is out, that does obviously open up some point guard. So for a Jalen, so if VanVleet is out, I love Jalen Green here. Clint Capella, is he going to be out for? Yeah, so he's going to be out. So obviously that opens up some value at center. So if we look at center position, he is out. Okongwu here, game log. Minutes are there. Fantasy point average has been there. If 6,400, I don't mind Onyeka here. For up and down. 3,400 at 15 fantasy points. Okay, but it's still less than 5 times value. So a lot to look at. But it should open up some value. But there's a ton of players that I like for both Houston and Indy there. Then this is where it's getting a little wild. There's a lot of out already. There's questionable tags. Jalen Brunson, I wanted to use him 2 nights ago. He last played the 6th, so it's been 4 days. Julius Randle being out. Halliburton, again, this is what we talked about in last video. Halliburton, his price, they dropped it. It used to be 9, right? 8,600. They've dropped it down. The minutes. We don't know what we're going to get. He played 26 minutes against Golden State his last game, less than 1 point per minute. Played 29 minutes against Houston, 37 fantasy points. Up and down. The minutes, I would love to see more minutes out of him. But again, he's going to be questionable with a hamstring. I don't think he's 100%. Dante, I love Dante. Pascal, I love Josh Hart. Precious, I do like. OG is out for an extended period of time. Bogdanovich here got traded. I was going to say he was traded, but he wasn't able to make the their team debut. Does have a calf injury. I don't know if he'll play. So Bohan, I don't know if he's even going to play. I would definitely look at Miles Turner, Aaron Nesmith as well. Miles McBride would be a value option. Just depends. Kind of got to wait for New York to throw out their starting lineup to see. But we used Miles McBride on Thursday for 10 times value almost. 4,100 went for 40 fantasy points. He was in, I believe, all of our lineups. Value. That's probably it, though, for this game that I would even consider to trust. They got Phoenix versus Golden State. Love me some Kevin Durant. That's why he's the picture of the video in the article. As of now, I have him projected as the highest scorer. Now, I don't know. And some people like narrative streets. Some people talk about revenge game. So Durant is going up against one of his old teams. So if you look at how he went up against Brooklyn back on the 31st, 54.75 fantasy points. I'm trying to see if he's faced Golden State this year. Has he not faced Golden State this year? Yeah, he did. Back on November 22nd, 47.5 fantasy points. So he did go under. He's basically the same price. He's 400 less than he was. But I don't mind Durant. Steph Curry, we know Chef is cooking. been cooking. So 54 here. Had a down game for 25 minutes, but they were up pretty big. So it'll depend if this is a closer game. I think Curry is in store for a good game. That being said, the news and everything that's come out lately, Klay Thompson is being pulled late into games if the game is close because he's just not been clutch lately. He's not shooting his shots and draining them like we're used to seeing. I think it might be messing with his head as well, so that's definitely something to look at. He is maybe in his own head as well. So I don't know if I trust Klay Thompson. Draymond, we used Draymond the other day, let us down. 28 minutes, the minutes have fluctuated. They're there, but then there's the outage. So I'm probably off of Draymond, I'm probably off Green, I'm probably off Thompson. I am looking at Podziemski, Wiggins, I don't mind Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon, David Roddy, Royce O'Neal. We used Royce O'Neal in almost all of our lineups the other day, 29.5. While I wish we would have seen more, I take that at 4,100. So it's basically Royce O'Neal and up, and then with the exception, don't really want Draymond Green, don't really want Klay Thompson. So those are all of the depth charts and games. Now we're going to take a look at the fantasy points allowed by position and try to build just a tiny lineup here to see if we can kind of show you just one of the tools we have at Fantasy Team Advisors. So the Spurs give up the most amount of fantasy points to point guard, but they're not playing today. So if you remember, they're not on the list. So you move down the list. So another one would be Washington Wizards to give up 54.7 Washington and Milwaukee. So Washington is on the slate, Milwaukee is not. So point guard for Philly, that makes sense. So Maxey might be out. This is the thing. Maxey could be out, which is a great matchup here. Cameron Payne, is he going to get the minutes? Just depending on what we see, we could see the minutes here. Let me see what he got for Friday's slate real quick. So it depends. Now, this is not the end-all be-all. So you see, I don't want you to read the chart and be like, oh, Washington, I have to take their opponent. You don't have to. That's the beauty of being your own person. So we kind of just look at the stats for Philly here. Cameron Payne played 35 minutes, had 20 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. Kelly Oubre Jr. had 28 points. So a lot of value opened up here. Paul Reed, 31 minutes, 12 points, 13 rebounds. So yeah, there are players that we can use. I don't know if it's going to be Cameron Payne 100%, but he had, and again, he started on Friday and played 35 minutes. So this is something to look at. But if you look at this, it's got a great matchup if he starts. If Maxey is in fact still out, Cameron Payne makes sense. If Maxey's in, I'm not using Payne, obviously. And again, what we're building here is just kind of a thought process to help you break it down. It is not, I'm not saying use this exact lineup, but this is just how to read this chart. So the next one is shooting guard. So we look at shooting guard. Atlanta Hawks give up 46.9 fantasy points. So we want to look at shooting guard. We want to look at Houston. Jalen Green. Now, if Jalen Green, it depends on what we're going to get out of him. The minutes have been there, 30-plus minutes, few games. I would look at Jalen Green here. My problem is if Van Vliet stays out. So he's expected to be out for another week. So he should be out, which does open up Jalen Green here, which, depending, we got Amen Thompson here, or Amen Thompson, 10 times value there. It really just depends. They have bumped up his price to $6,000 though. That's the problem. 4,100 there, 6,000 there. So a lot of things. Cam Whitmore, I did say would be tournament option. Had a right ankle sprain in Friday's game, so he's probably out. If he's got an ankle sprain that's bad enough to take him out of the game, he is probably out. So it's basically Jalen Green, Thompson, or Brooks. I don't trust Brooks enough. Jalen Green is very expensive, but we can afford him if Cameron Payne starts. So kind of a star scrubs, you're middle of the road here. So we're still averaging 6,400 the rest of the way, which is completely fine. We go to small forward here. We look at this. Washington gives up 53.5 fantasy points on average per game. That brings us to Philly again for small forward, Tobias Harris. Like I said, people might see that he 40 fantasy points on Friday night. It's a back-to-back, whatever. Buddy Hield is here. We look at Buddy Hield, a cheaper option at 5,000. So we could use Tobias Harris. We could actually use both of them. You could use Tobias Harris here, and then Buddy Hield somewhere else, utility. But I'm going to go with Tobias Harris. Now, this is where you have to differentiate yourself from regular DFS players. I put him in core for Friday. Kind of really didn't do as much as I thought he would do. I'm going to go back to the well with him. So Tobias Harris makes my small forward. Then we look at power forward here. We see that the Atlanta Hawks give up an average of 53.3 fantasy points to the power forward position. Who are the Hawks playing? Houston. Jabari Smith. Eason. Is that Jeff Green? I haven't seen Jeff Green. So Jabari Smith got a great matchup. He's 5,600. You put him in there, you're still averaging 6,200. So we get to the center position. Washington gives up 64.4 fantasy points per game. We look at that. We're going back to Philly. This is the problem. Is it going to be Paul Reed? Is it going to be Mo Bamba? Is it going to be KJ Martin? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Paul Reed, he's playing 30-plus minutes a game. He had a double-double. I'm looking at him at 5,900. It still allows us even more than that on average, so 6,300. So let's just take a look at guards. We'll just go guards. Point guard, shooting guard, might be the same. Milwaukee, Phoenix. So we look at Phoenix. They're playing Golden State. That could be Steph Curry. Okay? So with this, we're Golden State players. Steph Curry, Podziemski, 6,100 would be under the average and be pretty good. Coming off 33.25, 23.75, 34, 39, 49. He had a down game, but that's bound to happen. Getting the minutes, getting the starts, playing 30 minutes here in the blowout against Philly. They dropped him and took him out. So if this game can stay close, I think Podziemski makes a lot of sense here, and that still averages 6,500 for a forward and a utility player. So come back to the chart, kind of look. Small forward, power forward doesn't really matter. We see Washington, Utah, San Antonio, Charlotte. Is Utah playing? No. So it's still Washington. So it'd be Philly for a forward. Kelly Oubre Jr. had a good game. You got Buddy Hield for a cheaper option. You could look at that. You could also look at small forward or power forward. So we go here to power forward. Atlanta, Chicago, Utah, Charlotte. Atlanta, Chicago, Utah, Charlotte. So Atlanta would still be Houston for a forward. Whitmore, if he's in, I don't mind him. But again, he's got that ankle sprain. He's probably out. Dylan Brooks might take over a little bit, game log wise. It depends. He's been up and down these games, trying to act like a tough guy in the NBA. Just don't know if it's working. So if you just were to go for an average of 6,500 for a forward, you completely can. But we look at like 6,500 for a forward. Okongwu here, I don't mind him. Sadiq Bey, I'm okay with. Let's see. Yeah, I'm probably off of him. Let's go Okongwu here, like we talked about earlier. And then 6,600 for utility spot, which is not bad to be. Jacob Poeltl here, Kelly Oubre Jr., Andre Drummond, Bogdanovich, Nick Richards. I don't mind these guys. I'm probably going with Kelly Oubre Jr. again. So that brings us, and without even meaning to, that's a Philly stack. Cameron Payne is the one where I don't know if he's going to start. It's definitely something to look at. Tobias Harris, Paul Reed, Kelly Oubre Jr. would be where you're at. So you could get rid of Cameron Payne. You could find someone else, but he might be that value play you're looking for there. So just a kind of an easy way to do it. One way to do it. You want to see the rest, go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Go check out our DFS chalk, our cheat sheet, our NBA bets, our player projections as well. So that's what I've got in this video. If you found it helpful and useful, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Good luck today, and as always, let's bring home some bacon. Peace.